To our dear Chair Emeritus, Dr. Lourdes R. Montanola, members of the Board of Trustees, chaired by our brother Montanola III, our commencement speaker, Dr. Benito Tan, school administrators, members of faculty, parents, and fellow graduates, a good morning to you all. We live in a world of contradictions, confusion and clarity, uncertainty and surety. Where does that leave us then? It certainly means a slew of decisions to be made. In fact, every day, whether we are fully conscious of it or not, we make hundreds of decisions. The beautiful thing about it, though, is that we get to choose. I believe that we should make our own destinies. Waiting on or blaming circumstances for not being able to live the life we want is a waste of time. Rosario de Castro once said, "I see my path, but I do not know where it leads. Not knowing where I'm going is what inspires me to travel it." These words struck a chord in me, and with that, I will focus on three things today: purpose, struggle, and achievement. In my first year at FEU, I certainly did not think my university experience would turn out the way it has turned out now. Looking back, I really did not know what I wanted. I was still breaking out of my shell, so to speak, and both people and circumstances pushed me to realize certain things, helped me to further self-discovery. This discovery of self led me to action. This is what FEU has done for me and for so many of us here. FEU has painted a clear picture of what the future could be. A future wherein, assisted by these academic institutions, we all have the prerequisites for life. But take note, education, skills, and opportunities, they will help prepare us for the future, but they are certainly not everything, and they are not the end goal. We must add to all of these the meaning of purpose, for without purpose, we are lost. Purpose, you could call it higher calling, your life's mission, your passion, or simply your bliss. Whichever name it falls under, we all have one. Now finding that out is an entirely different matter. It sounds philosophical and even almost impossible to grasp, but it is quite simple actually. Now that we have come this far, it is time to grow up, so to speak. There are places to go to, things to do, and the world beckons us on. We study not merely to finish and have kids and get a job and find our soulmates. We are alive for much more. We are alive for more than the problems we face today and the struggles we have tomorrow. We are for more than the mundane too. Finding your purpose requires courage, repetition, and focus. Which brings me to mention the elements of struggle and achievement. Some never find their purpose because they've allowed themselves to be beaten down by life's struggles. Others lose their purpose because they've been blinded by achievement and ambition. I've been fortunate to taste both. When I was entering my third year at FEU, I decided to run for the vice president of our central student organization. At the time, I knew it meant a lot. Responsibilities I had handled before, and ones that were entirely new to me. Before I could step into the position though, assuming I would win, I had to go through some difficulties and overcome my own doubts. I had just finished my stint as the courtside reporter for the UAAP, and that brought a lot of exposure. Exposure which I was not necessarily comfortable with. I had been shying away from any extra attention afterward, and then the offer came. It came around the same time I was going through a personal struggle too. The high school I graduated from at the time was associated with an NGO which turned out to be committing fraud. These people, this community, I had grown up with them and I knew them my entire life. And leaving them was the hardest decision I had to make. and devastated. I felt unready and unfit for the position of VP, but the one thing that convinced me to run, I had this idea in my head. I wanted to change things. I wanted to help people. I wanted to improve how we students view social policies, how we view the things around us and everything else. I could not let my own uncertainty and doubt stop me. I did not want to let it become one of those things which I looked back on and thought, what if? I wanted to go from merely wanting things to happen to making them happen. So not knowing how things worked, or really how they would turn out for that matter, gave me a sense of adventure and propelled me to say yes instead of saying no. That's uncertainty. You can either let it paralyze you with fear, and you can wait for someone else to come and get you out of it, if you're lucky. Or you can take small steps, still scared, but making progress at least. The year I became vice president was the year I would step closer to my purpose. Struggle can either strengthen your purpose, or it can throw you off. It's all a matter of choice. This brings me to my next point, achievement. I came across achievement like one would come across a sliced chocolate cake left on the table, with a bit of eagerness, but also with a bit of apprehension. Again, I asked myself, should I? But most importantly, can I? I push myself constantly to do better, to be better, because I know I must. There comes a point, though, when you need to ask yourself, why am I doing all this? And has this given me a better sense of purpose? Am I actually a step closer to it? The first achievement I ever had here was winning an extemporaneous speech competition held at a YMCA student congress with the help of my training under the Oratorical and Debate Council. That experience taught me two things. Number one, getting involved was a way of changing things. And number two, people tend to listen more when you do attention-grabbing things. So I did things, so to speak. I got involved. When you stand for something, you can't hide, and you can't be modest about it. On the road to achievement, though, beware of what lurks in the dark. And by this I mean, when you're up in your place in the sun, don't let it consume you. I was getting opportunities that not too many people had, and I am truly grateful for every single one of them. But more importantly, for the people who pushed me to try. I had to make sure, though, that in achieving all these things, I did not lose myself, and I did not set aside my principles. I had friends who told me, why don't you just take some of your credentials? Put all kinds of things on your resume. After all, no one will find out. I said no. Scholarships, conferences, distinctions, all of these would be hollow achievements if I forgot my purpose, which I later realized was tied to me being an officer, and served only myself, getting and getting, and never giving. I think achievements are the icing to your purpose. Excuse me. Achievements should not define who you are, but solidify what you already have. Achievement can blind you or open your eyes to your purpose. Fellow graduates, you will go from here and find jobs and find love and get involved in so many things. Things related to our courses, or not. But we must never forget that the whole point of our studying, of our learning more, is to someday become reforming assets of society. And I'm not talking about grand gestures or life-changing stories or winning the Nobel Peace Prize or anything of that sort. I mean that in the corners we find ourselves in, the places we will call our own, we make a dent, we make connections. Sooner or later, we will have to set aside the books and put into practice what our 4 years at FEU has been preparing us for, the real world and our crucial role in it. On struggles and achievement, Whether you found yourselves struggling in FEU, or whether you found yourselves in the limelight, achieving many things, you cannot let either distract you from your purpose. Both are meant to guide you to it. I have been on both sides of the fence, and I've come to realize that neither disappointments nor desires are an excuse for delaying your purpose. We all come from different backgrounds, we all have different beliefs, and we all have different stories to tell. But we have two things in common. We all come from this fine institution, and we all have hopes and dreams of becoming somebodies. Today is a significant day, and so, on whatever side of the fence you find yourselves on, I wish you several things: the discernment to know what you want, the courage to go after it, the patience when you fail, and the humility when you succeed. A close friend of mine once told me that we should always couple our idealism with a pinch of reality. We must always strive to find that balance, that line among the roses and the thorns. So, graduates in 2014, glow bright like burning embers in the dark, not only because you can, but also because you should. Thank you.